Hey, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are tracking storms across the Pacific Northwest and in Denver, Colorado. Yes, you heard me correctly. I know everyone in Colorado has been waiting those storms to return to your area. We had one little storm risk last week, but it looks like a more impressive storm risk today. So here's what we're watching for. Storms will go severe this afternoon and this evening. Not everyone getting storms. Not everyone getting severe storms, but I do think that one or two of those will likely have that yellow box indicating some strong wind and some large hail, up to golf ball size hail possible here. Back to the plains by Friday and Saturday, and even more storms on Sunday as we really focus on the central to southern plains today. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our live radar. What we're looking at now are a few showers and storms that stretch all the way from the southern portion of Mississippi up to Louisiana, Arkansas, and into northern Kansas. We've got a little low pressure system that's trying to form here. Nothing to be too concerned about there. Actually, our severe weather will be focused in central Colorado and up to the Pacific Northwest, where we've already got a few little showers forming here. Let's go ahead and let's move on to our 24-hour storm reports. Yesterday across Wisconsin, we got one little storm that went right through Wausau, Wisconsin, and what that did was produce a ton of hail in that area, up to 2 inches in size, making that a 3-star hail map. That was recorded yesterday, and you can find those hail maps at hailtrace.com/hail-maps. Now let's go ahead and let's move on to what we're expecting today, because we have a cold front moving through the U.S. right now, not doing too much in terms of our temperatures. Really, we're looking at these little boundaries right here. You can see this little boundary creating a ton of rain across Kansas. We've got another little boundary up near Idaho. Now that'll be one area of storms today. And then we'll see another one develop later on this afternoon just over the Rockies. And that'll be our next area for storms this afternoon. Again, that'll be our area that we're watching for Denver. Let's take a look at around the country. What are we looking at here? A few showers across the Northeast, a few showers down in Louisiana, as I mentioned earlier. Nothing going on severe right now. Temperatures look pretty comfortable out the door today, a little bit cooler in some places thanks to that cold front. Other than that, what we're watching for is this low pressure system as it just gently moves to the east. It's not going to move too much today. It's just enough to bring us storms in Colorado and just enough to bring us storms on the northern side of this low, almost kind of creating its own other little low here across Oregon and Washington. So we talked about how this high pressure system, it's not moving anytime soon. But just these little movements from this low pressure system will be enough to produce storms in this area. And we'll talk about exactly where we're expecting those storms here in just a few minutes. I'm going to fast forward here. Let's see if my clicker will work. There we go. Let's talk day by day now. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We're expecting storms out in the Pacific Northwest today and across Colorado. Tomorrow we come back down to the plains, and that's where we stay as we head into the weekend. We're watching central to southern plains, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas for severe weather this weekend. And as we fast forward, you can see on Saturday, we've got a long line of storms that we're expecting on Saturday that stretches all the way down into Texas. Now, there are two differences from storms today, storms tomorrow, and storms on Saturday. First of all, we're watching for hail and wind for today and a flash flooding concern. Thankfully, that flash flood concern will decrease. It'll go down as we head into the end of the week. Hail and wind today, but we're introducing that tornado risk on Saturday. So we're not too worried about tornadoes today. Strong wind gusts are possible. An area that I'm expecting the strongest wind gusts will be in between Oregon and Washington, right in this area between Pendleton, Spokane, and then just to the north there in the northern portion of Washington. Now, what we're watching for here is we're watching for strong wind gusts up to 85 miles an hour, so 85-mile-per-hour wind gusts are possible. Wind across Colorado, I'm not too worried about. Actually, the big risk for Colorado today will be that golf ball size hail. Take a look at the hail map here. What we're really watching for is just to the central to western portion of Denver. We've got a level 1 risk because while we'll have some widespread storms in this area, Not all of them will go severe. We could also see some hail across the southern portion of this risk up to the Pacific Northwest. Bend to Burns area, these are your first few initial storms. Those will have the better chance for large hail. But then as these storms lift to the north, it becomes more of a wind risk across Yakima and Spokane, Washington. Now let's keep going with your timeline today. Storms have already fired in this area, but have not gone severe quite yet. I think as we get more of these isolated storms across Washington and Oregon, that's whenever we'll see them go severe with that hail risk initially, and then a wind risk after that. Let's talk about the timeline for Denver now. Moving down to Denver, Colorado. Look at that. That risk just right over the Denver metro. Storms will start just to the west of the Denver area, and as they come over the Rockies, that's whenever they intensify. Going across I-25 right around your evening commute. Here's a look at your timeline. Storms just to the west of 25 by about 4 o'clock this evening. Now remember, this is in Central Time Zone. Continuing to track to the east across 25 as we head into the evening hours. And I think this will be the best time to see some large hail between 5 and 7 o'clock tonight. After that, it'll be more of a wind risk, but I'm not too worried about the winds in this area, maybe 50 to 60 miles an hour. As the sun sets, those storm risks go down. Now let's take a look at your significant hail model. I love this model because it really shows where we're expecting the largest hail and where the storms will be at that time. So again, I told you between 5 and 7 o'clock, that'll be your big storm time. Here we are, 4, 5. Okay, we've got some reds and some oranges on this board. Let's overlay your radar on top of that. A few storms by 3, still to the west of I-25 by 4. By 5 o'clock, we've got some more impressive storms in here, and this is whenever we see those darker oranges start to seep in as well. That means up to golf ball size hail, maybe some 2 inches in this area. Crossing I-25 after that, but as the sun goes down, so do those storm risks. Moving on, let's talk about your rainfall risk for today. So excessive rainfall is possible, creating that flash flood potential across the southeast today. You're looking for areas highlighted here in yellow. That's your level 2 risk. Scattered flash flooding is possible, especially in those metro areas. You know that place in your neighborhood that always tends to flood? That's the area that we're watching for today. And we're talking about places across Kansas where we're getting rain right now, across Arkansas and portions of Louisiana and our Gulf states. Now your flood risk goes down tomorrow. We're seeing a little bit of a change in the atmosphere as we head into Friday and Saturday. And this change, it's pretty small. This low pressure system is starting to lift up to the north. And as it starts to move, it's creating these little, what we call short waves. If you imagine this area right here as a big long wave, it'll create these little short waves. That will create more of a lift, ingredient number 1, that we need for severe weather across the plains. Now we've already got that heat. You walk outside today, it's warm. You're probably feeling it's a little humid as well. So we've got moisture, we've got heat. Now we need that lift. And as this moves to the north and east, we're going to get that for storms across the plains on Saturday and Sunday. Now, we told you about this risk days ago. We're finally seeing it come into fruition or really come into play with our models here. We're going to see storms anywhere from Texas all the way up to Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska on Saturday. Finally getting some storms in here. Now, before we move on to this weekend, John, do we have any weather questions? We're all good on questions. Good news there. Let's talk about Friday's storm risk because we've got 3 different areas to talk about. We've got one area highlighted here in yellow. This will be your hail risk on Friday in Montana. Not too worried about this here. Small hail possible. Not too worried about that. Cheyenne, I think this is the first time that we've talked about Cheyenne all season long. Most of these storm risks have been to the east of you guys, and we're finally seeing just a few storm risks across the Rockies. Cheyenne, you've got a few storms coming your way by Friday afternoon and evening. Greeley, Colorado could get into some of the storm action as well. That's where I've got the largest hail set up here, anywhere from ping pong to maybe golf ball size hail. Moving down to Oklahoma and Texas, Amarillo and Lubbock, you guys are back in the hail risk. Now, I will mention the wind risk here extends all the way into central Oklahoma and portions of Texarkana, but that hail risk is going to stay across Oklahoma and Texas. So it'll be those first few initial afternoon storms bringing us the largest hail, and then it'll become more of a wind risk. We've got a great question here. What about Dallas hail this weekend? And just to reemphasize it, hail once again. You guys have a low risk this weekend. Probably better chances on Sunday than you do on Saturday. I don't have that risk for Sunday quite yet, but I can show you your risk on Saturday. Let's go through this wind forecast first, and then I'll show you Saturday. As I mentioned earlier, this wind forecast looks very similar to the hail forecast, with the exception of better chances for strong wind across the central portion of Oklahoma and all the way down into Texarkana. A wind risk here, but a hail risk out west. Now let's move on to Saturday, because things change on Saturday. We're watching for hail and wind Thursday and Friday. But by Saturday, we introduce that tornado threat, and that'll mainly be in areas highlighted in yellow across South Dakota and portions of Nebraska. To answer your question from earlier, DFW and the hail risk, again, it's going to be a very low chance for hail on Saturday. In northern Texas, we've just got a little area that we're expecting for storms in Texas, but then Sunday we'll have another risk across the central to southern portion of the plains. And there's your forecast. If we don't have any more severe weather questions, we'll go through temperatures very quickly. Pretty warm, especially up to the north as we head into the weekend. Other than that, most of us look pretty average for this time of the year in terms of temperatures. We've got some 80s coming through Oklahoma here, 80s in Kansas City, 80s in Dallas as well, pretty typical. As we head into the first week of June, we're a little bit cooler than what we would normally see this time of year. That'll be through the southern portion of the U.S., but much warmer up to the north and out to the west. And we may still be dealing with these flash flood risks as we head into the first part of June, as we see shower after shower, round after round of rain across the southeastern portion of the U.S. So, hey, we've got that moisture in here that could continue our storm risks into June, that could also continue those flash flood risks, so just be aware of that. As always, we'll be tracking storms across Colorado for tonight and tomorrow, back into Oklahoma and Texas tomorrow through this weekend. We'll be tracking it live for you. If any storms hit big cities, we'll jump back on here, so make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And for hail, wind, and tornado maps, give us a call at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com. You can also head over to our website, hailtrace.com. Thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we'll see you back here, same time, same place for your forecast tomorrow.